Hello, welcome to the last part of this tutorial series on how to build a web app with WebSockets, Django channels and htmx. I am Andreas Chat, your tech-curious web designer. So in this video we will wrap it up by implementing some user activity monitoring on the website to see how many users are online and in which chat room in real time. But before we dive in, a quick shout out to my new supporters on Patreon. A fist bump to Nick and a high five to Stick. Thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. And thanks to all my supporters on Patreon, buymeacoffee.com and on YouTube. You are the best. Thank you so much. Okay, and now without further ado, let's get cracking. First, a quick demo. So here we have our chat application. At the moment, we don't see anyone online, but I'm logging in now with Bobby. We can see we have a notification now that some other user is now online, but this user has not joined any chat rooms yet. Now Bobby joins a private chat with me. I can see a green dot appeared now here. And I can see Bobby is now live in this private chat room. We can see the green indicator here telling me that Bobby is indeed online. Now Bobby joins our group chat and we can see that in real time in the drop-down menu. Bobby is now live in the Django chat group. And now he switches to the public chat. And there he is. What's up? Alright. This is the activity monitoring we are implementing in this video. Let's go. To count the online users, I create first a new group in the database. Here I'm going to chat groups. Then create a new group. And call this group online status. Okay, then save. Next, I go to my header file to add this online user counter to the template. In the templates folder, includes header.html. Here we have the title and the logo of the website. So just next to the logo here, I'm adding this element with the ID online user count. And to position it next to the logo, I'm adding the flex class to the parent container. And item center. Alright, save this file. Next, we add the WebSocket connection. I will add it to my chat link here for users who are logged in. So within this li element here, I'm adding here the htmx WebSocket extension and connect to this path. Okay, save this file. And now let's create this path. So we go to the routing.py file in our chat folder. And add this path in here. It is calling the online status consumer class. Let's create this class now. So I save this file and go to my consumers.py file. And here at the very bottom, I add now this new class. And for now, let's just establish a connection. I add here the connect method. And then we call the self.accept function. Okay, save this file. I will refresh the website to see if that worked. And as we can see, we have a handshake with the online status WebSocket, and the connection here was established. Alright, Now let's build this online status consumer class. I'm retrieving the user information. The group name is online status. And then we fetch the group object. When the user connects to the WebSocket, we add it to the database. So first I'm checking if this user is not yet present in the database. And if this is true, I add him to the user's online property. Next, to communicate in real time with all the users, we add this user channel to the channels layer group. So with the channel layer, we're dealing with an asynchronous environment. So we're using the async to sync function. And we're connecting here the channel name of the user with the channel layer group. Okay, then we have the self-accept function. And then I'm calling this online status function to send an update on the online count to all the users. We will create this function in a second. Let's add next the disconnect method. If the user is present in the online user property, we remove the user. And then we also discard the user channel from the channel layer. With the group discard method. And once the user is disconnected, we send again an online status to all the users. Okay, now let's create this online status method. So this method will send an event to all the users. And this online status handler will render the htmx partial for each user. Then here we have the group send function with the group name and the event object. Okay, let's create the online status handler method now. So the handler will render the HTML code we want to display on the website. We are interested in the online users. So these are all the online users in this group, but I want to exclude the user itself. Okay, and then we add this variable to the context and add the return statement. Here we create the HTML partial and return it with the self.send function. Okay, save this file. And now we create this online status.html file. So I copy the name, go to my templates folder, there in the partials, and create this file. So here we have the element with the ID online user count, which we placed in the header. Then we check if we have online users. And if yes, we display here the number of the online users. Okay. Now I style this element and put the text in a red box. So I'm adding here a container. With a red background. Rounded corners. Some paddings on each side. With a white text. With a text size of small. And with a small margin to the left, so it doesn't stick to the page title. Okay, let's save this file and let's check it out. I restart the server and refresh the website. So the box is not visible yet because there is no other user online. So let's log in with Bobby now. And as we can see now, the box appeared and is counting one other user online. And this count is visible as long as the user is logged in. Alright. Next, I want to monitor if a user is online in the chat rooms and show it in the header. So I want to see a green dot here telling me that the user, in this case Bobby, is in the public chat. Alright, back to the code. Let's go to our consumers.py file, to our online status handler, and create here a new variable to display the public chat users. First, let's get the public chat object. Then we're accessing the user's online property. And then we exclude again the logged in user. So I copy it from here and add it at the end here. Then I'm adding here a condition to send a true or false value back to the front end. If public chat users exist, I create here this new variable, online in chats, and set it to true. Else, this value is false. Alright. And now I'm adding this variable to the context. Okay, save this file. Let's go to our htmx partial. We're creating here a new element with the ID online in chats. This will be my indicator if users are online in the chats. Then if online in chats is true, I display a green dot and position it to the top right corner. Alright, save this file. And now let's add this element to the header.html file. So here we have the chat link. And inside this A element here, I'm adding this div with the ID online in chats. Alright, save this file. And let's check it out. So I refresh the page. And as we can see, we have here a green dot now. Let's test this when Bobby changes to a private chat room. And correct, our dot disappeared. And we're going back to the public chat. But this time the green dot doesn't appear. So there is a problem. The reason it doesn't show up lies in the order of the WebSocket connection. So at the moment we send the user status before the user is added to the chat room. However, we would need to count it afterwards. So if I refresh the page now, I can see the green dot. So we need to move the online status connection after the chat room connection. And instead of making the connection in the header, I will make the connection in the footer, at the bottom of the page. So let's go back to the code. So in the header here we have the WebSocket connection. I will get rid of the code from here. Save this file and place it in my base.html file. In this layout block here, we are displaying the content of the page, and just underneath here, I'm adding this footer element, which connects to the WebSocket now. Okay, I only want logged in users to actually make this connection, so I wrap it in this condition. Okay, save this file, and let's test this. So refresh the page, also here. Now I change again to a private chat with Pete. The green dot disappeared, and now I change back to the public chat, and the green dot appears. Nice, that works now.
Yes! 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 Yes!
So this was for the public chat. Let's implement the logic now for the private chats. So back to the code, to the consumers.py file, I create here a new variable. So first I fetch here all the chats I'm a member of. So my chats. Then I create a variable for the private chats. Private chats with users. And this variable should contain all my private chats which have users online, except the user itself. Okay, and to create this new list, I'm using a list comprehension. So in square brackets, first I write the object I would like to have in this list. So I would like to have the chat object. Then I'm creating here the loop. So for chat in my chats and filter it by is private. This gives me a list of my private chats. And now I add the condition if they have users online. So if users are online, excluding the user itself. Okay. And then we add this variable to the condition, or private chats with users. Okay, save this file, and let's do a test. So I'm creating a private chat with Bobby now. So I'm going to Bobby's profile page, chat with Bobby, and say, hello Bobby. Then I switch back to my profile page. Then I refresh here Bobby's browser. We see here this new private chat with the admin listed. And as you can see, we have a green dot here. But if I change to a private chat with another person, the dot is gone. Great, that works. Okay, this was for the private chats. Now let's add the group chats. I'm creating here this group chat with user variable. Again, this is a list comprehension, so I just copy the code from here. And instead of filtering my chats for private chat rooms, I filter it for group chats. And we do that with group chat underscore name. This is the name of the property. Then double underscore is null equals to false. So if the group chat name is not null, we have a group chat. Alright, and then we add this variable also to our condition here. So or, and I add this variable. Okay, save this file. Back to the browser. Now I create a new group chat. Django chat. Then I add Bobby to this chat. So I copy the URL. Okay. Now also Bobby is in this group chat. Now I switch back to my profile and check it out. So we have here green dot, so somebody's online in chat rooms. Let's test this out. So I switch back to the profile page here. And as we can see, the green dot disappeared. And now I'm joining the Django chat group again. And the green dot is back. Great. So this dot works now for the public chat, for the private chat rooms, and for the group chats. Nice. Now as next step, I want to see in which group this user is online. So when I open the drop-down menu, the indicator should also appear here. Let's do that now. So back to the code. So for this, I'm updating the whole list with chat rooms and the online indicator whenever there is a status change. And I'm using htmx to swap the data into the template. So let's go to the header.html file to get the drop-down list. Here we have the drop-down menu. So I'm just copying this whole UL element here. Copy and paste it to my online status partial. Then I have to add the ID so it can be swapped. And this element has now the ID chats list. And in my header.html file, I get rid of the whole list here. And just add this empty element. Alright, save this file. Now back to the partial. Here I'm adding now my online indicators. So first one is the public chat. I add the class relative to the li element because the indicator will be positioned absolute. Okay, and in here now, I add the condition if we have public chat users. We still need to send this variable to the template. We will do this in a second. I'm displaying a green dot, else a light gray dot. We define these colors in our style sheet. And close it with endif. Okay, save this file. And let's add now the variable to the consumer.py file. So we have defined the variable already here. I add it to the context now. And we also need the user object to display the chats. So user is self.user. Okay, save this file. And let's check it out. So I refresh the page. Also here. Then I switch here to public chat. And check out the drop-down menu. And yes, we have a green dot. Nice. Next, let's add the group chat indicator. I add the green and gray dot to the partial. Again, the relative class. So if the chat room has online users, and it is not the user itself in the chat room, I display a green dot, else a gray dot, and close it with endif. I just realized we're missing here the if. Let's add this now. Okay, then save this file. I'm swapping here to the group chat Django chat. And check if we have the green indicator. And yes. Awesome. But if I'm inside this chat room, we have a gray dot again. Let's fix this by showing a green dot. So for this, I'm adding here another condition. Or there are more users in this chat room. This can include now the user itself. Okay, save this file. And yes, we have a green dot here. But if Bobby leaves, it goes back to the gray dot. Awesome. Now last but not least, the private chat rooms. So here's the element. Again, the relative class. And for the logic, we can just copy the code from before. And paste it in here. Okay, let's check it out. Bobby joins the private chat room with the admin. And as we can see, we have the indicator here too now. So as last thing, I would like to add the online indicators also to the avatars in the chats. So I know which user is online right now. Okay, let's add this logic. We go to the consumer.py file. And this time we are dealing here with the chatroom consumer class. And inside the handler here we add the logic. So I want to fetch here all the users who wrote a message in the chat. Now, instead of fetching all the user objects, I need to create a filter here. And I'm only interested in the users who sent the last 30 messages, for example. This is the number of messages we display. So first I fetch the last messages. So I'm accessing here the public chat object. And then I fetch the latest 30 messages. Then I'm collecting the author IDs of those messages using again a list comprehension. So in square brackets, this is my loop through the messages. And the value I'm interested in is the author's ID. For each message, this will give me now the ID of the author, and most likely we will get duplicated IDs. So to get rid of duplicates, I transform it into a set, which makes sure the values are unique in the list. Like that. And finally, I'm creating the users list of those IDs. So I'm accessing the user table and I filter by IDs in the author IDs list. Okay, with this I'm getting now my users. I add it to the context. Save this file. Now let's add the indicator to the partial. So this is the online count.html file. And here at the bottom, I'm adding my loop. So for user in users. Then I'm checking if this user is online in the chat. So if this user is online, I display a green dot. And I'm just adding a gray border to this dot as well. Then I also give this element a unique ID, so it can be attached to the right user. So user dash and then the unique user ID. Okay. Or else I add the gray dot. So it's the same element, just with the color change. And we close it with end if. Okay, save this file. Let's add this ID now also to our chat message. So we're going to the chat message.html file. Then we're looking for the user avatar. Here it is. Now I've wrapped this image again in a container with the relative class. Alright, and add the indicator. And here we're getting the author ID from the message object. Okay, save this file. And let's test this. Okay, so I'm going here to the public chat. And we can see the indicator shows up. Let's refresh Bobby's window as well. And we can see also the admin is online. Now, if Bobby changes chat rooms, Bobby's indicator turns gray. Amazing. But what we can notice here, when we write a new message, the indicator disappears. That's because we're using a different handler to render a new message. Let's fix that as well. So in our consumers to be Y file, we find the handler method which renders the new message. Here we have the message handler. I'm adding here the chat group object to the context. Save this file. And add the indicator to the partial. So this is the chat message _p.html file. And at the bottom here, I add the same logic as before. So from the online count.html file, we copy the code and paste it in here. Now here we don't have to loop through the users because we have only one user, the author of the new message. So let's get rid of the for loop here. And instead of using the user object here, we can use the message.author. And we can swap out the variable using the with keyword. Like that, with user equals to message.author. Okay. And we close it with end with. Okay, save this file. And let's check it out. Bobby writes a new message. Testing. And as we can see, this time the green dot appeared. Awesome. Okay, this is all for this video, and at the same time we reached the end of this tutorial series. Thank you so much for following along. If you like this content, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends so more people are able to find it. If you want to support me also financially, you can do that on patreon.com/AndreasChat, on buymeacoffee.com/AndreasChat, or with a donation on YouTube. I'm very grateful for any support. Thank you so much. I hope to see you very soon. Until then, stay curious, my friends. Bye bye, ciao and vielen Dank.